plenty more to discuss in the company of our following group of speakers. So please welcome Business Development Sports Governing Bodies at Pixellot, Brian Philpotts, Sports and News Partner Manager at YouTube, Cristina Delgado, the CIO, Head of Digital at Volleyball World, Motasem El Bawab, and Director, MAOTT and Digital at FIFA Plus, Dave Roberts. And back once again here at World Football Summit. He was a speaker yesterday, moderator today, good friend of mine as well, the CEO of Empower Sports, Pedro Pinto.
Where are you?
I'm here. Buenos dias. Good morning, everyone. Fantastic to be here on day 2. I was up all night thinking about the perfect way to start this conversation. Not true, by the way. But still, I was inspired by an ad I saw in the 90s in the States about ice cream, but I'm going to make it about stream. So I stream, you stream, we all scream for the perfect stream. Okay? So I think that applies to all of us here on stage. We're all streaming. We're all looking for that perfect stream. Let's kick off the conversation by just talking about the state of play. What are the main opportunities and challenges right now in the streaming world? In one sentence. I'll start with you because you're closer.
Thanks. Serving up to the fans what they want, when they want it, and how they want it. Simple as that.
That's short and sweet.
Yep.
Mota?
Data and operational efficiency. That's the biggest challenge, I have to say.
Cristina?
I mean, the biggest challenge is revenue, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and the opportunities is like, a lot of sports organizations turn to YouTube to find new audiences, young audiences, and global audiences. So, and also because they go to, if they don't have local broadcaster deal in different countries, they turn to YouTube to find the way to distribute their live games. So there's a huge opportunity also on these platforms.
Thank you. Brian?
Yeah, for us, I think the opportunity lies in being able to serve lower tiers with both production and distribution systems which haven't been available to them in the past. And therefore, monetization of that is an opportunity. I also think monetization of that is also a challenge, and that's a very interesting conundrum for us. And also the getting to the younger audience and delivering personalized content to them in a way in which they want to take it.
All right, so I think you set the stage quite nicely. You've talked about the fan, you've talked about the technology, you've talked about revenue. You've talked about the platforms, so let's get stuck in. And again, Dave, I'm going to go to you first because it is a World Cup year and we're just a few weeks away. I don't know how much sleep you're getting at the moment with requests pouring in right and left, but tell us, because FIFA Plus is still a new platform, 4 months old, and you try to combine archive content, original content, streaming content. How do you do that, and who's your fan? When you say about giving them what they want, who's your fan?
The fan's quite simple, and it's pretty broad from our perspective, because we've got probably a unique situation as a federation. We have the responsibility to the game, as well as the responsibility to monetize a platform. So slightly different viewpoint from a federation's perspective. Who is the fan? It's anybody who's interested in football. It's anybody who could be interested in football. And because of that, we can't just build an OTT platform and stream live games. Though FIFA Plus will be streaming something like 40,000 live games in the first 12 months of operation. But we have to offer more than that, because the young fan this day doesn't want to sit through 90 minutes of football on a small screen. They love small screens, but 90 minutes is the challenge. So the platform contains the entire FIFA archive, for the first time made available to the public. News, short form clips, highlight clips, social clips, editorial pieces, original content. We have a creators network, which is, it's not your high-end Netflix producers, which we have as part of our original content lineup, but the creator network are the individuals who have an idea how to tell a story, but they don't know how to go about it. So we've got a lot of this content that's been shot by the Gen Zs who love football, and we're giving them the opportunity to do that. So there's a huge amount of content and ways to engage.
I'll get into archive in a moment, because I'm actually very interested as a football fan to see if I can go back and watch my favorite World Cup of all time, which was '82. Watch some of those games or not in the future. You can tell me about that.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me about '82 as an England fan. Yeah.
Well, I fell in love with that Brazil team. I was still very young, and yeah, I'm very old now. But yeah, and I'll get into that in a moment. Motta, everybody's talking about OTT. Everybody wants to provide their fans with the perfect experience, and there's no one who loves the sport more than the organization who is producing the events, right? So how do you bring the fan in and keep him there for as much as possible, not only with the broadcast, but everything else that you're trying to do as far as an ecosystem of the fan?
So we've set out the journey a couple of years ago where we consolidated our entire ecosystem. So what does that mean is that we've connected the dots between our website, our mobile application, our ticketing system, our OTT to understand what's sort of like what our core audience is. Different from YouTube, we for the past few years we focused on the core audience, so the hardcore volleyball fan, because we knew that they're the ones who are going to be going all the way down to the funnel to convert, to pay, and to stay.
Yeah.
And the way we've catered to them is we've understood we collected data, we've understood what they want, what they like. We knew that live events, live matches drive most of the traffic. But then there's also other original content that we had to create and opportunities that we had to create to keep them coming back. So retaining the audience, and it's a combination between data, sort of understanding who is your core audience, because we wanted to create a sort of a self-sustaining business, which is now, it's what it is. Volleyball TV is a self-sustaining business. But then we started thinking about like, okay, what's the other type of content that we can create to keep them there besides just the live events? Creating highlight clips, just archive content, but not just archive content that's taking the match and slapping it there. It's actually cutting it, adding some commentary and catering to that audience. And that's how you retain them. After that, it's also using performance marketing methodologies like email marketing, push notifications to bring them back, to remind them, hey, there's a match coming back, or there's a highlight of your favorite player that is coming back. Personalizing that experience for them was key to go from 0 subscribers to quite now like a significant number that I cannot share.
You've been able to increase subscription revenue sixfold,
yeah,
in a couple of years.
Yeah.
How did you do it?
So, pardon what I'm going to say, but COVID was good for us because we just basically opened up the platform and we started collecting data. We decided as an organization to open Volleyball TV for free and make all the access to all the content for free. We worked with the broadcasters to allow that, and we collected a lot of data for 2 years. And then once everything went back, we used that data to create efficiencies in the way we promote. So knowing your audience, you're able to use Google and YouTube to advertise in a very, very efficient way because you know who your target audience is. Instead of just advertising to everyone, you're advertising to the people that you know that they're going to buy, to the people that you know that they're going to subscribe and convert. And that was sort of the key to our success, is sort of really hyper-targeting our performance marketing and our advertising, but also the fact that we were able to work with CVC to acquire as well new content from national leagues, from other beach volleyball events, etc. So it was a combination between data efficiency and operational efficiency, but also creating new content opportunities for us. And it wasn't an overnight thing. We had to, tighten the belt and really believe in what we wanted to do. And we've now it's a running machine, and I can't wait to see what we're going to do next. So we have quite a few things that as well, from an engagement point of view, new features on the platform to keep the users there and to cater to Gen Z and the other audiences that if we don't cater to them, they will go to YouTube, they will go to Buzzer,
Yeah.
they will go to other platforms as well.
Let's get into the YouTube a little bit, Christina. It's one of the few things that a 47-year-old man and a 2-year-old baby have in common at my house, which is YouTube. We both watch it, and we both love it. And there's always something to watch every time. Now, traditionally, I don't look at YouTube as a platform that I would go necessarily to watch live sports, but I know that you're obviously tapping into that space as well. I wanted you to tell me about the experience you've had broadcasting live games with Serie A, with Brazil, and also you mentioned revenues, so how are you trying to monetize those streams that you have on your platform?
Okay. Yeah, in terms of monetization, we do have pre-rolls. Nowadays, we have pre-rolls. When you connect, the user connect to the live streaming, they will show up like a pop-up, which is an ad, an impact of one ad. But this is not enough. Nowadays, it's not enough because the live streaming takes like 90 minutes or more than that. You're gonna be impacted once. So what we're doing, and we launch already in the United States and Americas, and it's coming in the coming months, hopefully, to EMEA.
Is this breaking news?
No, it's
Okay.
already
Okay.
launched. It's dynamic ad insertions with these like ads within the stream. It's lots of ads within the stream. It's like you are watching the TV. When you watch a TV, you see it's lots of 4 ads within the games. So this is how we're gonna monetize live streaming, but not only with dynamic ad insertion, but also with transactional features like live shopping. And one of the successful of the Paulistão live streaming, Paulistão, you know, is the football, Brazilian Football League. What they did in YouTube is to live stream domestic, in the last season, domestic games. And what they stand out, and the success of YouTube is they brought, for the first time, they brought celebrities, TV presenters, commentators, creators, clubs to comment the live game. The live game were live streaming on the Paulistão YouTube channel, but what they did is to activate multi-audio tracking, what it means like every user, if they wanted to listen to their celebrity or a TV presenter, they can switch the commenters or the audio to different commentators. And what they did also, they activate live shopping. Live shopping on YouTube is just launched also as well in YouTube. And what they found out that the user could buy during the live game the t-shirts for the preferred teams. And they also activate like cast for living room. Imagine that, you know, that Gen Z audiences watch, young audiences watch games on mobile, mostly on mobile, so they will be able to see a notification if they were at home to send the signal to the connected TV and to keep watching the games on the connected TV. So there is a lot of features that we're working on, and they also activated live chat messages, and they were very curated and displayed. And they found out in the 16 games, they reached out or they received more than 4 million messages during the streaming. It was unbelievable. And in terms of Serie A, you know that Serie A in the last season, it happened in the North Africa and the Middle East, they didn't have deal with the local broadcaster. So they turned to YouTube to distribute the signal and the live games on YouTube. And the success for this story is like they reached the top games, they got more than 450,000 viewers, live viewers. And nowadays, thanks to this, thanks to the visibility that they got in those territories on YouTube, they got a deal with the local broadcasters. So this is a very good news on the side. On this side. And then we have, I'm sure it's been said here, DAZN, we partner also with DAZN to live stream the UEFA Women Champions League, and it works really, really well on YouTube. According to DAZN's report, they state that we generate together with the DAZN OTTs on streaming, more than, plus YouTube, more than 64 million viewers across 230 countries and territories. And in the last three months of the season, of the Women's Champions League season on YouTube, they got more than 12 million unique viewers on their channel. So it's like a huge success. They're having a huge success on YouTube.
I have to say that for us as well on YouTube, it was fundamental to drive traffic to us because not only there's a lot of searches, it's actually one of the, what is it, the second biggest search engine in the world.
Yeah.
So a lot of people go there to search for content and everything. So it drove traffic to Volleyball TV. But we didn't live stream. Although we did that for beach volleyball, it was very successful. The mid-roll ads are pretty good from a revenue per minute perspective. And it drove traffic for that core audience into Volleyball TV. So regardless of, the idea is not to just create your OTT and forget all the other channels. Use the other channels to bring traffic and cater, because you have audiences there. So you need to go and capture them.
Yeah, we were faced with exactly the same. The questions we were getting just ahead of the launch of FIFA Plus is, are you going to close down your YouTube channel? Well, no, we're actually going to invest in it because it is part of the funnel. It is part of bringing that traffic into your own platform. So why would you want to switch off? So I think this is key going forward, is utilizing what tools are there, whether it's YouTube or others. You need that strategy to drive the audience to where you want it to go.
It's a long-established fact that Match of the Day is Sky's best advert. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Brian, I wanted to ask you to, in a very kind of objective way, explain how you go about building the perfect OTT platform and how the perfect OTT platform can vary regarding the client that you may be working with. So if there's someone out there now who's looking to broadcast/stream their content, what does an OTT platform have to have? And then how do you add any bells and whistles that come along with the stream as far as in-game experiences or opportunities for fans to engage? How important is that element?
Okay, so we've got 60 OTT platforms out there. We've produced over 500,000 football matches. We operate across 72 countries, so we've got kind of a good feel for this. I think our philosophy is that we don't impose anything on our clients. It's about, we're going to provide a structure for them, and it's up to them then to take it on, because they're in control of it. And I'll come back to the control piece in a second. So our philosophy is to try and provide an OTT platform that works as well for a grassroots club or federation here, as well as it can work up here. We don't have tiers. We don't have, this guy gets this because he's where he is, and this guy gets this. It's the same. And it has all the functionality you would expect. It has the way in which the content is ordered. It has both simple and enhanced graphics. We can do remote or on-site commentary. But one of the things that we have done in our OTT, which is kind of the first move we've made in this, is that, and there's a reason I'll come on to in a second, is that we have a functionality where the viewer can cut personal highlights, and they can take a view and they can make a show reel and they can share that on social, and it's massively successful for us. And the reason we do that is because quite a lot of where we operate, there really isn't a rights issue. Trying doing that further up the tree, you'd come into rights. So that's our first foray, into that. But I think my overriding concern, and again I'll talk in a second a little bit about why. We want to give the rights holder control back, and that control for them is about, do we partner with a third party and lose control of the customer and get no data, or do we now start to try and take control of our own content? And my concern is that there are lots and lots of federations out there and leagues who would start their project by doing that and then just hang an OTT platform out there and hope that they will come. Whereas in reality, you need to start your journey knowing whether the referee, the dad, the coach, the traveller to international matches is 4 people or 1 person, and get that whole ecosystem in place. I'm not saying you have to do that before your OTT platform, but if you don't, it won't be successful. And I think our view is, whereas we want the federation to have the control, I think we're changing our thought process. In that, you know, we raised $161 million 2 months ago, and I think we're taking a view where we might look at a more risk-reward model for us. So it wouldn't necessarily be, you know, here's an OTT platform license, here are ongoing license fees. And when we do that, if we're looking at a federation to do that with, then we're looking at it in a completely different way. You know, we're looking at it from the perspective of, you know, have they put tech at the core of their business? You know, do they have fan engagement tools in place? If not, is there a roadmap to do so? Because all that then becomes important to us because we're at the point of sharing in that risk reward. And it's early days for us, but longer term, what will be great for the federation is because we're vested in that, we will then start to introduce things into our OTT platform because it kind of financially works for us as well. So the whole ecosystem grows together. That's our plan.
That element of control is important. I agree with you, Brian. It's part of the reason why we've developed what we've developed, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to encourage our members, that's FIFA Speak for federations, associations, it's 211 around the world. We're trying to get them to control their media rights. Now, 85% of football federations around the world at this moment in time don't have control. They'll simply sign a contract and then the rights have gone. So we're trying to build an audience, and we expect FIFA Plus to be generating something like 235 million uniques by the end of this year. So if we can generate that audience, we can deliver that to the members, to the federations, to the associations, and they can then utilize that, like you're saying. Yeah. They have control, they have the audience, and then they can look to maximize it. So I suppose that's where we differ slightly. We've got that responsibility to the game itself, as well as any commercial models.
Sure. But I think, Pedro, you know, to your comment earlier and to Dave's point now, when you look at that rights landscape and you start applying that to archive and go back 20 or 30 years ago, you'll be finding lots of these federations really don't have access to their archive, or would have to go and try and acquire access to their archive, which I think is, you know, hindsight is a wonderful thing, but I think that's such a great shame because my belief is going forward, in short form, in long form, archive is going to be massively, massively important to sustain these systems.
I wanted to ask you about the different segmentation of the audience. How do you appeal during a stream to the 60-year-old, the 40-year-old, the 20-year-old, and the 10-year-old? Because they're all interested, and whether it's a big competition or a big game, they could all want to watch it, and maybe the only option is to do it on a stream, let's say. So how do you ensure that the technology is good enough and the broadcast quality as a product is good enough for the older generation to want to follow it, but innovative enough for the younger audience to also want to be there and interact with it? I mean, is it about AR with having stats, more stats available on screen? Is it chat, complementary apps? Is it, how do you find that balance to be able to be attractive to those different segments of audience?
And let's not forget Auntie Anne, who probably watches football once every 4 years when the World Cup comes along. So it's a huge challenge.
Well, that is a very interesting segment, isn't it? That only applies to certain.
It is. I think it's easier for digital than broadcast.
Yeah.
We have a bigger screen to play with, not physically, but we can stream a live game, but we can then also engage with data or whatever we need to do alongside that. You can't do that traditionally. You know, so the AR comes in hugely for broadcast, but it's not necessarily as important for digital offerings because we can multi-screen, we can do whatever we need. But I mean, I can only talk from our perspective, and we're trying to engage with a very wide audience. So we look at short form content. So we will look, the typical federation game that streams live on FIFA Plus has multiple destination points. So we'll take out social media clips, but that social media clip will drive the audience back to a 2.5-minute highlight clip. That 2.5-minute highlight clip will drive an audience back to a 60-minute version of the game, or the full 90 minutes version of the game, or even back to the members, back to the federation's platforms, because we also want to build their platforms on what we're doing. So multiple touch points From a content perspective, we're available in 12 languages. We have to be. You know, we are engaging with Mo Salah to drive Arabic-speaking, particularly around the Egypt area, audiences. There's so much you can do to try and activate in the different age brackets.
It's a combination between channels and features on your platform. So your channels can be, you know, either on YouTube or Buzzer or TikTok and all of that to cater to these different audiences. But your content needs to be catered as well. It's not about, you know, taking the same piece of content and putting it the same way just to reach these different. You need to look at your audience, how they're consuming at each channel. The content on TikTok will not be the same as the content on YouTube, for instance. So it's not going to be the same type of content. So that's one thing. But as well, once they're in, you have to as well put together some features to keep them engaged. So
Like what?
So you mentioned AR. AR can be either within broadcast, but what we've done as well with our platform on the OTT is that we've overlaid graphics. So you can turn it on and off. Basically, if you want advanced stats on a specific competition, to understand one specific player and everything.
Right.
Because as an international federation, some competitions have really high quality stats where we invested in player tracking and everything, but some other competitions we didn't invest as much because the media rights were not allowing us to do that. But as well you can do that within the broadcast, but we can also do that within the platform itself. So, and allowing the audience to choose what's the features that they want. So it's a combination between certain features, understanding that audience and what they want, and then multiplying the channels and the distribution points that you're distributing your content into.
Yeah, in the case of YouTube, I don't know if you're aware, in 2021 we launched YouTube Shorts, which is like a video, a 60-second video, vertical video made for mobile. We've seen in YouTube that young audiences spend between 60 and 70% of the total watch time on YouTube is made by mobile. So that's why we thought that we need to launch short forms. But there is a report I just launched this month by Ipsos. They say that the young audience spend long hours watching long-form content. So what is Shorts, YouTube Shorts drives to this, or to provide to these sport organizations is reaching these audiences, creating short videos, YouTube Shorts, and these audiences will go to watch also long-form and live streaming on their channels. So we have seen an incredible viewership, growth of viewership on a lot of sports channels because they start to upload a lot of YouTube Shorts. And one example is the Premier League. Premier League, they are loading a lot of YouTube Shorts, and the viewership has increased by 6 times. So there is a huge opportunity also for the sports organization to reach those young audiences, keep them engaged also in the platform. In the case of YouTube, with the live features that we provide to them, which are transactional. Normally, with the live features we have Super Chat and Super Sticker. I don't know if you heard about this. When you are watching a live game on YouTube, on the right-hand side, you will see the live chat.
Right.
So the user is able to buy and to purchase, to be on the top of the live feed chat, his message for 10 minutes, the whole live stream, and they paid, some of them, they pay like 400 euros to be there, to be featured. Unbelievable. For creators, this work amazingly well. They get a lot of money out of this Super Sticker and Super Chat. So a sports organization.
I wonder if the parents knew the credit cards were being used for the Super Chat and Super Stickers, but...
They were super well, very, very well. And I remember that Barcelona, Football Club Barcelona, they just launched, and some fans, they are spending money to be featured on the live feed of the chat. So, and we paid, and this is public, 70% of the revenue share. Yeah, we pay for advertising 55% to the sport partner, the right holder, but for the transactional monetization, we provide 70% to the creator or the right holder. So, I mean, this is a way where you can improve your revenue on the platform and you reach and engage, mainly engage and to grow your fanship through this live option during the live games.
Did you want to add something?
Yeah, no, I think we're some way off what I believe would be the holy grail of one stream that suits you and suits the Gen Z. You know, if we're looking at putting more stats on it, et cetera, I think there is a way, and I've seen some iterations of this, that, you know, the boys at Aura and Arena's company, they're doing some great stuff in that area. But I think we have to accept that in the short term, you're getting it from a separate place or it's in a separate stream. And just accept that and move on. You know, the stuff that the NFL with Second Spectrum did with CBS, you know, both in terms of Nickelodeon and RoboVision is starting to take you down that route. But I think it's a way off having a... look, a colleague of mine said to me the other day, we consume sport leaning out. Gen Z kids, they consume sport leaning in. You know, they're immersed in it. They have to participate. They have to be in the game. And I don't think there is a way yet of doing that properly in a way that they can make the choices that they want to make as to what content they see that is in a format visually that would work for us. So I think it has to be two separate things whilst it's, you know, coming of age, and then there might be a place where it can be all in one.
And I think that demand's been there for some time. Was it 6-7 years since second screen viewing started outperforming first screen viewing? So we talk about Gen Zs, but even before that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I'd love to consider myself part of that age group, but I'm not. They've been watching traditionally, but engaging on the second screen.
Yeah.
And the key is bringing those two together.
Yeah.
I'm leaning in, so I'm trying to be young here.
Good luck.
Okay. It's crazy because these days I think a large part of the sports fan community gets equally, if not more, excited about the new version of FIFA coming out, or NBA 2K, or whatever that may be, than the start of the competition, real competition itself, right? So how do you see gamification as I guess, challenge or competition, and how do you manage to merge those two worlds so that especially the younger fans also feel that they are engaged and immersed into the real product rather than going on their alternative reality simulations on their gaming console?
We're already doing that. There's a gamification section on FIFA Plus. Light touch that it is at the moment, so it's bracket challenges, predictor games, that sort of thing. But that's going to be expanded. We're on version 1 at the moment. This is launch version, what you're seeing, what you're downloading on your mobile phones at the moment. But version 2 is already, well, it's soon to come out, focusing on the World Cup. Version 3 beyond that's already there, some big changes there, much more functionality, and you'll see gamification grow as the platform develops, because it is an integral part of how youngsters consume football. I mean, our focus is football. I don't know if it's the same with volleyball, but the youngsters consume football with gamification, and we can't ignore that. We've got to embrace that.
Absolutely essential. You know, when we were talking earlier, but when people talk about the attention span and we lose them and we've got to deal with that, well, you know, my kid sits on Fortnite for 2 hours without any difficulty whatsoever. You know, he can sit on FIFA for 2 hours. You know, but also he can sit and watch The Last Dance, and he can sit and watch, you know, Drive to Survive or All or Nothing. So it is kind of a curious mix of the live game doesn't capture me for 90 minutes. Something else that's a game about the same thing that I'm immersed in does. You know, but I'm also interested in this long form stuff over here. So it's kind of bringing all that together, and gamification is an essential ingredient as the glue of that.
It's also an opportunity to engage new audiences. So for the Volleyball World Championships, it happens every 4 years. So it's an opportunity, or even the Olympic Games, for an international federations, it's an opportunity to engage new audiences because it's a global event. Sometimes it's even bigger than your own events. So we use gamification to attract these new audiences. So for instance, a predictor game or a fantasy game will tap into this patriotic fandom of certain fans to, you know, cheer for their team and bring their friends to engage. So I remember back when I used to work at FIFA, we had a predictor game for the FIFA World Cup. But some of my colleagues, I know for a fact that they never watched a football game, or they don't watch a football game on a regular basis. But they would follow the FIFA World Cup because they were on the predictor game. So this is a new way to engage and to capture data and understand new audiences and bring new audiences to your platforms. So gamification is for 100% essential in your ecosystem, whether it's long form for all the time, 365, or you use it as an opportunity to just build up your funnel from the top to the bottom.
And there's also how you use it as well, and I'm sure YouTube are the same. We just streamed, 2 months ago, we had the FIFA E tournaments in Copenhagen, live gamification on site. We streamed them all on FIFA Plus. These were four-hour long-form live streamed segments of what was happening in Copenhagen. A couple of hours break, and then we did the same in the afternoon. And I've seen similar with YouTube as well, because that's a part of the fan, of the user, that, again, you've got to embrace if you're gonna move forward and develop.
I think it's also the reverse of that. What I mean by that is this. You know, the Premier League kind of got into gamification very early, because I launched it many years ago. Right. So what do they now do with that body of 11 million people that they've already got engaged in gamification, and how do they then move that across into the other part of the ecosystem?
Well, I know a lot of people who started playing the fantasy game, and because of the fantasy game, watch more of the live broadcasts because they want to find out if their player has a goal, an assist, a save, whatever it may be. So I think that fantasy element is incredibly important. I'm a big NBA fan, and I remember now for a few years on League Pass, you have a poll at the beginning of every quarter, and it's a silly question, but at least I thought, well, this is something at least that's making me feel part of what's going on. And I think turning up the volume on that without being intrusive can be quite a good balance for the future, maybe. I mean, but I'm talking probably as the generation that most of you aren't selling to at the moment.
And it was a way for them to enrich their database, right? So every time you answered, they knew what you were going to answer, what's your favorite team, what's your favorite player, and that was a way to not just get first name, last name, email, but it's actually first name, last name, email, affinities, what you like, what your preferences, etc. So it was a non-intrusive way of enriching your database for the NBA to do that. So, and cross-promote and cross-sell across the different ecosystems.
Final question, and a short answer as well, even though this question could be a topic for a different panel, but just keep in mind the time. We've got about 4 minutes. The live streaming industry is, of course, very segmented at the moment, right? Both from a broadcast perspective, sometimes you need 3 subscriptions to watch whatever you want, to the digital platforms as well, whether it's Amazon broadcasting live tennis, football, American football, Apple signing that huge deal now with the MLS. What's the competition out there right now, and how long before broadcast and digital can co-survive without cannibalizing each other and without driving the consumer insane of having 73 subscriptions to watch and listen to everything they want to listen to? So what's the landscape out there right now from a broadcast stream perspective?
I think it's sports specific, because media rights will play a huge part in what you can or cannot do. But from our perspective, our platform's free, so there's no subscription. There's no registration right now. It's free access. We want to build the audience as fast as we can to deliver that in terms of giving exposure to areas of the game where they're getting 0 exposure at the moment. So it's probably an easier answer for me than it might be from a purely commercial focus. But you're right. I mean, the Netflix type burnout, how many more subscriptions do I need, is a challenge. And it goes back to the point you were making earlier about monetization is a challenge, because you've got federations, you've got competition owners that want to monetize.
Yeah, you have to, yeah.
They have to survive,
Yeah.
Yet the more barriers you put in place to that, the less chances you are of doing it.
You need to be the best friend of your media rights team. That's if you want to build your ecosystem without any blockages or anything, you need to work together with your media rights team to be able to say, okay, for this country or this location, we cannot do live streaming, but you can do highlights and all of that. Or you cannot do local commentary, but you can do English commentary. So really going super granular in your rights, that will be at least the fundamental piece. Then, you compete for not anymore for eyeballs, but you compete for retention. So if we're not constantly generating interesting content like The Last Dance or like The Drive to Survive, we're going to lose that audience to another platform. But then it's another effort, marketing effort, performance marketing effort to bring them back to watch the stream. And that's for the, let's say, the non-core audience, that the super hardcore volleyball or beach volleyball fan or any sports fan for that instance.
I think in YouTube, for example, YouTube is mainly a VOD platform, video on demand platform. So I think the sports organization, what they need to do is to take advantage also of this platform to reach these audiences, and not only uploading live stream, because it's true that mainly VOD live streaming, it comes from time to time. So we need to work together for you to provide highlights of all the content which is aside of the game, which is working really well. We really find out that highlights on YouTube and also the behind the scenes, the entertainment content, for example, Real Madrid and Barca, they don't have rights of highlights. La Liga have all the highlights. But Real Madrid and Football Club Barcelona YouTube channels are bigger than La Liga 1. And why? They are creating entertainment content. They take the players and they do a lot of fun challenges, things which the fan love it, and they never gonna find this content in other platforms. So YouTube needs, I think that's why, the clubs, the federations, the broadcasters need to think about, okay, I have my platform live streaming where I can monetize very well, but maybe I can go to YouTube to reach those audiences and drive them also to my platform and show them that I have a live streaming in my platform, and YouTube is going to help me to do this. So I think it's a good approach, and we work together on this.
I think we'll just continue moaning and groaning and paying, in reality. And some people will stop paying as the rights shift and move around. I think there would have to be, there'd have to be a couple of big changes, i.e. one of the very, very big rights holders went completely alone, and that would kind of change it seismically, I think. Or also if, Google or Apple really, really came in at a very, very big level, and that would shift the paradigm again. I mean, the Apple MLS deal for me is a trial. It's just a super pilot, and they'll see how that goes. But I think it's going to take something like that. Otherwise, you're just looking at, I've got 40% of my content here, I'm paying X, I've got 50, next time they get more rights, and you're just teaming and ladling which ones you want to pay for and which you don't. And I don't see that changing unless there's a really big shift in the landscape.
Have we used the 4 minutes up?
We have. Why?
I was just going to give you one example. Your question was broadcaster versus OTT platform.
Exactly.
Something we've just done in Costa Rica, which I was central to, is we contacted all our media rights licensees who own the rights for the Women's Under-20 World Cup, and we said, what are you doing with the tournament? And for those who replied, said, we're not going to show it, we engaged with them and had a conversation and said, you own the rights, but will you allow us to show those games on FIFA Plus if you're not going to use it in your territory? We ended up live streaming that competition to 112 territories around the world. So it's very much a partnership with media rights licensees going forward.
We're out of time. Yes or no? Can I get my Brazil 1982 matches on FIFA Plus in the future? Yeah? Now?
The entire FIFA archive's now available.
Wow, okay. Maradona 86 as well. All right,
Thanks.
over to you, David.
If it goes on YouTube, make sure you put your super sticker there, Pedro, yeah? Everyone wants to know, where is Pedro Pinto going to put his first super sticker? Where he's going to pay his €400, get involved with the super chat. Christine, I got you. Guys, we darted around so many different topics there, and I think we've got so much more. We could do 2 or 3 panels on this, but you spoke also beautifully. Thank you so much for your contribution, and to Pedro as well for sharing the conversation. Guys, give it up for the panel. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Cristina, muchas gracias. Montserrat, thank you. Cheers, Dave. Pedro.